Hey my loves, I hope you're all doing really well. I have had an influx of highly gifted children coming through my clinics, and these children, they know this. They are absolutely incredible. They are intuitive, they're creative, they're highly psychic, they can see things, sense things. I've never seen anything quite like it, and it's quite mind-blowing for me. It's nerve-wracking for some parents that are not in tune with that side of themselves. A lot of these children are struggling at the moment because they're not taught this part of their nature in schools. They have always been compelled to give their energy to anything but that part of themselves. They're not taught how to believe in themselves. They're taught what to think, not how to think. They are struggling with gut problems, with mental, emotional anxieties, stresses. They feel quite angry. We're seeing addictions on the rise. They do not have the sentience to be able to express what they're feeling, so they are heading towards artificial intelligence online, scrolling towards what others are experiencing to find out what this part of their nature is. And there's some great wisdom online, but that does not mean that all of it's great. And it feels like they're being governed into a groupthink or a hive mind, which is not necessarily healthy for their nature. There's too much information there for them to be able to decipher and choose from. Everything's so readily available, and for me with these children, I think that what advice would I give to this is to bring them back to the center. It's going back out into nature, it's having board game days, it's doing things without the technology so that they can more tune in to what it is that they're sensing or feeling of what's going on within themselves that cannot be explained. It's reading books, it's doing the wonderful, the weird and the wonderful. It's talking about things and expressing to them that they can have a moment that somebody else is not going to understand. I'm also seeing lots of babies that are screaming when phones are being taken off of them. They are being self-governed, or they're being governed, sorry, should I say, automated by these phone systems. I would also like to point out the diet that these children are eating are very processed foods, sugary foods. These don't link them up very well. AI is also governing them through these computer games. The way that these children behave, I've seen it with my son when he's played games and when he's not. And when the children are on the games, they become quite angry, aggressive, impatient. It's all the violence, and it's normalizing that element of things, which I don't think is okay. The sugary stuff, you've got ping pong balls running around the house, but when they're eating a more grounded diet, you get a whole different version of who they are. The other thing that is happening at the moment is we're coming to exam season, so these children are really stressed out. They feel really nervous about going into the school place, or what others are going to think of them, what marks they're going to get. They're having to learn stuff they never wanted to learn in the first place. They feel quite angry about that. But then at the same time, they don't want to let anybody down. They don't want to get bad marks. So can you see how uncensored they are and where they are with this? And after the whole school situation, a lot of these kids are absolutely traumatized. They don't recover very easily. And the other thing that none of us have really recovered from is the whole situation with what happened over the last 4 years. An absolute psychological assault on all of us. And then after we've gone through that period in that space, everything's increased. Parents are stressed out, can't be there for their children. They're spending loads of time being artificially governed, looking on their phones, constant scrolling. They feel really just unable to hold space for their children in a way because they can barely hold space for themselves. And I find in that, because spirituality has been written out of everything, people are really struggling to connect back to that nature within themselves, to really understand who they are, to know what their boundaries are, to not do what everybody else is doing, because this is the way that this system has been set up. A lot of the younger generation are unable to know what it's like to get up without first thing looking at their phone. to just be able to get up and see nature outside, to hear the birds singing, to go out into the forests, to walk places with their friends and go on adventures and see people sat on their doorsteps and their porches, to have that human connection, to really experience life through a lens that is not governed by something that is artificial. You know, there's a lot with this that these kids are really struggling with. What are different ways that we can help these children to really reconnect back to themselves? For those that are feeling the stress and the duress of exam season, homeopathy is a really good way to help them to come back in tune with themselves, to find their center with things, to help them get through that. A really great remedy for exams is AAA. 3 different remedies in one. One helps you to ground your energy. One helps you to retain information through the cramming. The other one helps you to get rid of the nerves. So that's the 3 remedies are arginate, anacardium, and ambergris. Get that from Helios. You can get it online. And flower essences. If you don't know where your child is with their emotions, get a back flower essence list. Say to them, which 7 remedies do you think would work for you right now? Once they show you, because it will show you the negative aspects of where a child is, what a child is feeling, and then the positive outcome of what that remedy can help them with. This will help them to express to you what's going on within them at the moment. And the flower essences work on the etheric body. It also works very quickly on the mental and emotional, helping them to come back to their centers. These are 2 areas that you can work with your children. I would also talk about feelings and emotions and about what you're feeling, about what's going on within you, about how you're working with your own internal dialogue at the moment with the way that the world is. I'm finding that people are very short at the moment. We're living in a world right now where people are really just not themselves. There's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of heaviness, but there's also a lot of joy. There's also a lot of wisdom being shared and happiness in the smaller nucleuses that are choosing to do something other than scrolling on their phones. It's really quite there is a beautiful plethora of energy out there that you can tune into. And do more natural things with your kids where possible. Eat more natural foods. Teach your kids about the herbs, about all of the different things that are available outside of the spectrum of AI, and really work with coming back to the center of all of it. Trust yourselves on this. Teach your children how to trust themselves, how to trust their intuition, how to go with their gut instincts, and you will see a whole different version, of them, a more centered and happier version. And with regards to the school element of things, and just in general, teach them that it's okay to say that they no to certain things, that they don't have to do things that they don't feel in alignment with, and that they can feel happy being their creative selves. There's some kids that are really academic and really great at it, and there's others that are just not. And the ones that are not are the ones that struggle a lot. Both sides find the system that we're living in really difficult. Why? It's because these are the new wisdom keepers. These are the new ancestors. These are the ones that are here to create a new system. Okay, trust them. Listen to them. Listen to the children as well, because they come out with some absolute amazing information. Some of it is not from here. They remember people that were not here when they were born, and they come down with messages. Turn the TV off, have a fire, listen to what they've got to say. And when you do that, this teaches them to listen to themselves and to really work within themselves, or show them that draw things, draw what you're sensing at the moment, so that they can really tune into and link back the spiritual nature of things to paper. Remember that there are other ways. And spirituality may have been written out of everything, but you cannot censor consciousness. That's a part of yourself that you are able to align with. It's okay to align with that part of self, to be part of that spiritual side of yourself that they told you never really existed. And if all of us did that a little bit, every single one of us, it would start raising the vibration on the planet and really creating something special, because we can have a world different to our past. And all the individual lights that come on that don't link up to the group mind end up creating a whole new frequency. And this frequency can work for the children. They can help us to do this with the wisdom of the elders. And let's see what we can do together. Let's bring it home.